everybody, it's Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio. Today I'm finally getting the placemats on my longarm machine, and I wanted to show you how I load them and how I'm going to quilt those. I did get a message today that my order of batting has been shipped, so it'll probably be a week before it gets to the house, but it has been shipped. So once it gets here, then I can go on to some larger projects like the China plate quilt. It's still loaded. The top is loaded on my machine, and I do have my backing fabric, but I'm still waiting on the batting. So we're getting there. First thing I wanted to show you is how I'm going to attach the batting to the machine. It's actually going to be the same way that I do any other quilt, except for one thing. I have the batting scooted down a little bit further on the fabric, and that's because I have a real narrow piece of batting. So let me adjust the camera and I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I found a strip of batting in my leftover stash that is actually long enough to hold 4 placemats, but it's just barely wide enough. I don't have a whole lot of leeway, and to do this I'm going to load the placemats in this direction, so I'm not going to be facing them head on. I'm going to be quilting this way. I need space up here so that I can maneuver my rulers and things as I'm quilting if I need to. So I have space up here. If I butted this all the way up here, I might run out of space. So I've got this on here as flat and as straight as I can without measuring it. But I'm going to go ahead and secure it, and I'm going to bring the machine over and just use a basting stitch, and I'm going to go on manual at 15%, and this will give me just a basting stitch length to work on. So okay, I'm going to put my horizontal channel lock on and just stitch all the way across. Let's pull up my basting, or my bobbin thread. I'm going to pull up my bobbin thread and then just quilt across. Now I am tugging a little bit on this far end just to keep that batting from wanting to bunch up. And what that does is it gives me a straight line to lay all my placemats on so that I don't have them too wonky. So I'm going to go ahead and get my first placemat and just line it up with that quilted line up here. Okay, I have one more to baste on, and have the line of basting stitches up here that I want to follow, and I'm going to match up this raw edge with that basting line. It kind of helps keep it straight, just like I would with a quilt top. And then I'm going to put some pins in here and just secure it down all the way around. I'm just making sure that it's flat, and as flat as I can get it. It's one more pin. I think this will do it. Now I'm going to start in this corner and then I'm going to quilt all the way around. And I've got it on my machine on 50% motor speed, and that will give me a nice long basting stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and get started up here and just take my time. One thing I want to do is, as this hopping foot is going along, it's going to want to push the fabric, and eventually I'm going to have a pucker in there. So to avoid that, I'm going to put a little tension on this end of the seam, and just quilt along there, and that way it's going to take up any, it's going to prevent any of that puckering that it wants to do. And just stop and move my hand closer to the hopping foot. And then I'm going to remove my pins as I go down, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and get it started for a few inches, and then I'm going to reach around here, and then I'm just going to put a little tension on that, and that will keep the puckering from occurring. I know my arm's going to be in the way and you won't be able to see this, but that's what I'm doing. Just remove my pins as I go. And you don't need a lot of tension, just a little. Okay, now I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start by just putting a little tension. I can grab the backing fabric here and just put a little tension on that to begin with. And now I can tug on the fabric of the placemat. And this doesn't distort it. You would think it might, but it doesn't. And do the same here. Get your pins out of the way. Okay, that looks pretty good. So there's the placemat that I just basted down. And it looks pretty smooth. I don't have any puckering in there, and now I can go ahead and do my quilting on there. And it'll be just secure as if I had it loaded to the leader. So now it's just basted down with the backing and the batting in it, and it's all ready to go. Okay, here's the placemat. It's all ready to be quilted. And I've already stitched in the ditch on both sides of the block, between the block and the applique. Now the applique, I'm going to just stitch right around it with a lavender colored thread, so it'll kind of blend in with the background, and I'll do that after I get the block done. Right now I'm using an off-white thread. This is Parchment by Signature. It's 100% cotton and it's a 40 weight. And I'm going to start with the background and then work my way in. Of course, you can start from the center and work your way out if you want. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to start up here and secure my stitches in the seam area. And I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm just going to do a cross hatch in here. And this is just a single cross hatch. And then for the flying geese backgrounds, I'm going to do a triple outline stitch. I'm just going to echo this outline a couple of times. It's about 1/4 of an inch away. And the reason I'm doing triple is that, you know, odd numbers are more pleasing, and it also keeps me going around the block. If I did an even number, I'd be doing a lot of stitch in the ditch, or I'd have to stop and cut thread and start again. So this is just a time saver. And stitch in the ditch to get to the next corner. And then I'm going to stitch in the seam to get to the next piece. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and break my thread here, and what I want to do is do an outline stitch in the purple star points. So I'm going to pick a place to start, and I'm going to secure my stitches in the ditch here. And just do 1/4 of an inch outline. Okay, I'm gonna get my thread tails out of the way, and I want to get to the point right here, and now I'm going to do continuous curve in the green triangles. I'll get that in a minute. I'm just going to do this freehand. Okay, so I did around the outside, now I'm going to do the inside. Okay, now all I have to do is the center, and I want to do a cross hatch on that too. And I want to find the centers of each side. So it's about 2 1/8. because the block is 4 1/4 inches square, so 2 1/8 would be the center. Okay, so let's get my straight edge again. I'm going to go corner to corner. I want to find my center mark on the edge, which is right there. And over here, I cannot see it. So let me mark that again. Oh, there it is. It's right there. I'm using an air-soluble marker for this. Here we go. Okay, the block is done. Now all I need to do is stitch in the ditch around the applique. So I'm going to change thread colors to do that. So I want it to be a light purple. Another thing you can do, stitch in the ditch around the green and around your center square if you want to. It's not needed, but if you'd like to do that, you certainly can. So let me change thread and then I'll show you how I'm going to stitch around this applique. Okay, I'm going to start with the applique that's furthest away from me, and I'm just going to outline stitch this, or just stitch in the ditch real close to the applique. And I have a tool that will allow me to use different edges. This is the Handy Versa tool, and it's you can get it at Handy Quilter, or some quilt shops carry these, especially those that carry materials and equipment for longarm machines. So I'm just trying to stay as close to the applique as I can. And you could just use like a separate straight edge and a separate circle template if you want. But there are several tools on the market to quilt appliques, so whatever works for you. Okay, that is done. Now you could do more quilting in here if you want. There's lots you could do. You could do a background fill. You could quilt within the tulip head. You could quilt within the leaves. You know, whatever you want. But for my purposes, I think this is all I'm going to do. This one should go faster because I can see it better. I'm not having to look over my tool to see the applique. And I have a couple bobbles that I need to fix though. Okay. So this is all quilted and ready to go. It's when I get all of them done, I will cut these out and trim them up and bind them. But first I want to get the table runner done. I've got enough room on my backing fabric to put the table runner on after this. So I'm going to finish these up and then put the table runner on. Thanks for watching. For more quilting ideas, click on the video links. And to keep up with my latest projects, click on the subscribe button. I hope to see you again soon.